Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa has told Russian President Vladimir Putin that South Africa appreciates his support for the BRICS Summit to be held in the country next month. Both leaders agreed that Putin will attend virtually after the International Criminal Court issued a warrant of arrest for Putin for alleged war crimes in Ukraine. Now, Ramaphosa says preparations are now underway and looking forward to a successful meeting. For more now, we are joined by our correspondent at St. Petersburg, Leon Ssenyange. Leon, thank you so much for your time. Well, it is clear that the bilateral discussions, during the Russia-Africa summits were robust. We understand that deliberations ended at around 2 a.m. Moscow time on Saturday. Just talk us more about the meeting between Ramaphosa and Putin then.
Well, yes, it's indeed been a very busy few days for President Cyril Ramaphosa here in St. Petersburg, capping off the Russia-Africa summit on Friday night. A late meeting ended at about 2 a.m. The discussions there were entirely about arrival to a peace solution to the Russia-Ukraine issue. President Ramaphosa has led a delegation of 7 African leaders in the Africa Peace Mission in that particular matter. But after Friday night, he had an early Saturday morning with President Vladimir Putin yet again, putting on table South Africa's concerns and issues and desires from Russia and the engagement that Russia and South Africa have had over time. And President Ramaphosa, first of all, was appreciative of his counterpart Vladimir Putin's organization of the Russia-Africa summit, highlighting the importance of the relationship on cooperation and the intentions of development between Russia and Africa. But specifically for South Africa, President Ramaphosa again threw in issues and concerns, or even still the desires for South Africa in this particular relationship. He called it a multi-level cooperation or engagement that South Africa has with Russia. In terms of investment, he called on Russia to invest more. There are more Russian companies in South Africa, and just as much an exchange of the same in Russia. In terms of trade, Russia says that they've increased up to about 16.4% of trade through 2022 with South Africa to about $1.3 billion that he expects that could go higher. In terms of education, President Ramaphosa pushed for the increase of South African students in Russian universities. But then also in terms of space, South Africa has a space institution. Russia has just as much technology and expertise in that area. President Ramaphosa pushed for engagements in that in science and technology. But importantly too, President Ramaphosa again pushed for Russia to push the African agenda so as to have a seat on the UN Security Council. And with next month's BRICS Summit coming again, being hosted in Johannesburg, President Ramaphosa was grateful of the support that Russia has offered. President Vladimir Putin will not be attending, unfortunately, but the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and the Russian delegation will be in Johannesburg.
In fact, when President Ramaphosa was just addressing that, the support between Russia and South Africa, he said that, African leaders have an inherent right to call for peace, in Russia as well as in Ukraine. But just talk to us a little bit about, this parade of warships and nuclear submarines that the Russian president was reviewing and what this all means.
Well, I'll start with the joint engagements in which the African leaders came to Russia and Ukraine to discuss a passage to arriving to a solution to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That conflict has caused quite a lot of damage on the continent in terms of food insecurity. Much of the food has been coming, or possibly the wheat itself, has been coming down to Africa with now the shortfalls since Russia's termination of the Black Sea grain deal. The desire for the African leaders is that President Vladimir Putin comes to an agreeable table or decision to end that conflict. President Putin, however, says that his counterpart on the other end, Zelensky, should be given the opportunities just as much to come to the table and agree to a negotiation to bringing the conflict to one end. Definitely still remains a very long shot at this particular time, but the effort still therein by the African leaders to try and push for a peace, to arrive to peace, seems a very good gesture, and just as much Africa could benefit with the arrival to peace in that conflict.
Leon, thank you so much for that update. Leon Ssenyange there, of course, giving us an update around the Russia-Africa relations, particularly that meeting between Ramaphosa and Putin.